Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtike Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3. We are on chapter 20, text 12, where Shaunak Rishi is showing so much great eagerness that what was further between Vidur and Maitreya. Vidur Maitreya Samvad. He wants to know more about the conversation. So Maitreya Vacha Daivena Durvita Karyena Parinamishena Cha Jata Shobhat Bhagavato Mahan Asit Gunatrayat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of the three modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activity of the living entity, by Mahavishnu, and by the force of time, the total material elements were produced. So again, now Maitreya is speaking about the creation. The cause of the material creation is described here very lucidly. The first cause is Daiva, or the destiny of the conditioned soul. The material creation exists for the conditioned soul who wanted to become a false lord for sense enjoyment. So it's made for us. We are conditioned souls. Why? Because we want to falsely lord over the material nature. We think whatever we see belongs to us, and that's the reason we need to enjoy it. One cannot trace out the history of when the conditioned soul first desired to lord it over material nature. But in Vedic literature, we always find that the material creation is meant for the sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul. There is a nice verse which says that the sum and substance of the conditioned soul's sense enjoyment is that as soon as he forgets his primary duty to render service to the Lord, he creates an atmosphere of sense enjoyment, which is called Maya. That is the cause of material creation. So why does Lord create this material world? Is because of our desire. Many people say, oh, why the Lord created the material world? Because we had a desire to enjoy separate from him. So then here we can see, now we don't know when we got this desire first. We are unable to trace out that history because it's eternal, right? So long back, we forget. We can't even remember what we did yesterday or what to say about what we did millions of births ago. Then another is said that how are we able to live here in this material world? How are we able to indulge in sense enjoyment? Because we are pure spirit souls, and our primary duty is to render service to the Lord. Whether we accept it, don't accept it, believe it, don't believe it, that's a fact. As soon as we forget it, then we are able to do sense enjoyment. Because if we remember our original identity, when we are truly self-realized, we will not be able to live in the material atmosphere of sense enjoyment. Impossible. Because we are already then in the original state of self-realization, where we understand who we are, who is God, and what is my relationship with him. Another word used here is durvita karyena. No one can argue about when and how the conditioned soul became desirous of sense enjoyment, but the cause is there. Material nature is an atmosphere meant only for the sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul, and it is created by the personality of Godhead. So this material world, this whole material world, is a facility given to us so that we can enjoy the senses, because that's what we desired. We desired to turn away from God. It is mentioned here that in the beginning of the creation, the material nature of Prakriti is agitated by the personality of Godhead Vishnu. So how did the creation begin? The Lord Vishnu, personality of Godhead, he agitated the Prakriti, the material nature, by his glance, just by his glance. He didn't have to physically do it. He didn't have to do any special endeavor. He just had to look. There are three Vishnus mentioned. One is Mahavishnu, another is Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and the third is Shirodakshay Vishnu. So these three Vishnus are the Purusha avatars. They are the one who are involved with the material creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam discusses all these three Vishnus. And here also it is confirmed that Vishnu is the cause of creation. From Bhagavad Gita also we learn that Prakriti begins to work and is still working under Krishna's or Vishnu's glance of superintendence. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unchangeable. Krishna says to Arjuna, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sachara Charam Hetu Nanena Konteya Jagat Viparivartate. So how is this whole material creation happening? Why is activity happening? We condition souls are put here. There's so much activity going on everywhere. The sun is coming up, going down. The rains are there. The clouds are there. The wind is moving. Everything is happening. How? It is by under Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu's glance. That's when she starts working. But does it mean that Krishna or Vishnu changes? No, he never changes. One should not mistakenly think that because the creation emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has therefore transformed into this material cosmic manifestation. Because sometimes people think, oh, this material creation has come from God, so means he's changed now. He does not exist anymore. He's changed. It cannot be, because he's the complete whole. He's complete whole and he's spiritual. When we try to understand that there is a difference between the material and the spiritual, that's when we are able to understand the supreme position of the Lord and his activities. But if we try to think everything with our limited material capability, then we will be unable to access the inconceivable. So he exists in his personal form always, but the cosmic manifestation takes place by his inconceivable potency. The workings of that energy are difficult to comprehend, but it is understood from Vedic literature that the conditioned soul creates its own destiny and is offered a particular body by the laws of nature under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always accompanies him as Paramatma. So we are creating our own destiny. Our destiny, our future is in our hands. Wherever we are right now is because of us, whatever desires or whatever actions we have taken in the past. That's why we are here in the present. And whatever desires and activities we do now is gonna, we are creating our future. We are creating our destiny. And of course, the body is given to us by the laws of material nature. The laws are set based on our desire. Somebody has certain desire and activity. Okay, then in the next life, they are going to get this body. Why? Because that's their nature, that's their desire. So Mother Nature says, you will be more comfortable in that body to do certain things. For example, eating meat. So Mother Nature will say, oh, it's better you get a body of a tiger because you like to eat meat. So in body of a tiger, you can enjoy more meat. You can digest it better. You know, you do not need a human body for that. So it's under the laws of nature and under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always accompanies him as Paramatma. So the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, he is always witnessing our activities. He's the overseer and the permitter. Nothing happens without his will. It's not that, oh, there's something happening in some part of the universe which the Lord is not aware of. No, he's aware of each and everything. Each and everything he is aware of. And he's always with us as Paramatma. That's how much he loves us. We tell him we want to forget you, we want to forget you. So he creates this material world. But yet he is there with us as Paramatma in our heart. You know, because we don't want to see him. So, okay, we are not able to see him. But yet he's guiding us. He's our best friend. This is the reason he's our best friend. Because although we say, no, we don't want you, we don't want you. You know, we want to do whatever we want. But he is always with us as the Paramatma. No matter where we go, no matter which part of the universe we go, no matter which universe we go to. There's so many different universes. No matter which body we are in, animal or tree or plant or a human being, he's always with us as our best friend, guiding us, giving us intelligence, giving us knowledge, giving us the ability, the strength, and the forgetfulness. Any questions or comments?
No, all good.
Okay. 13. Raja Pradhanan Mahata Strilingo Devachodita Jata Sasarja Bhutadhir Vyad Adini Panchashaha. As impelled by the destiny of the Jiva, the false ego, which is of three kinds, evolved from the Mahat Tattva, in which the element of Rajas predominates. From the ego, in turn, evolved many groups of 5 principles. The primordial matter or Prakriti, material nature, consisting of 3 modes. So the Prakriti, material nature, she has 3 modes. What are the 3 modes? Anyone?
Goodness, passion, ignorance.
Yes, thank you. Now generates 4 groups of 5. What is this 4 groups of 5? Okay. The first group, okay, it creates 4 groups of 5 things. Now the first group is the elementary and consists of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Okay, so this is the first group of 5 elements. The second group of 5 is called tanmatra, referring to the subtle elements, sense objects. Tanmatra, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. You know, we hear, the ears, there's always sound. Skin, we always touching something. We like to touch nice things. Form, we like to see beautiful form. Taste, we like to have good taste, and smell good fragrances. So this is sense objects. This is the desire of the senses, the sense objects. The senses are always searching for these sense objects, something to see, something to taste, something to smell, something to touch, and something to hear. The third group of 5, the third group is the 5 sense organs for acquiring knowledge. So the senses with which we acquire knowledge are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, knowledge acquiring senses. The fourth group is the 5 working senses: speech, hands, feet, anus, and genitals. Some say that there are 5 groups of 5. One group is the sense objects, one is the 5 elements, one is the 5 sense organs for acquiring knowledge, another is senses for working, and the 5th group is the 5 deities who control these divisions. So anyway, the Prakriti got agitated by the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu. He glanced over Prakriti. So now how did the creation happen? The Mahatattva is there, put in one portion of the Brahman. The Brahma Jyoti is expanding everywhere. Even this material world is situated on the Brahma Jyoti, the Brahman. So even this material world is actually Brahman, because Brahman is everywhere. But just because we desire to forget our original position, so Krishna puts a black cloud in one corner of this Brahman, of this Brahma Jyoti. Then he glances over it in the form of Mahavishnu. And so the agitation happens, material nature, the modes are there. So the modes are there, and then from these modes come the 5 elements, the 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 5 sense objects. So the false ego, which is of 3 kinds, evolved from the Mahatattva, in which element of Rajas predominates. So because the Mahatattva, right, we said this cloud, the black cloud, that is a Mahatattva, in which all the ingredients for material creation is put. All the ingredients are put. And so what is this Mahatattva? This Mahatattva is actually almost pure consciousness. It's almost pure. Why is it almost? Because it's not completely pure, almost pure, but there is a tinge of passion in it, a slight tinge of passion. And because of that, this whole activity starts, because with passion is activity. So Mahatattva is the chit, the, what do you call, the chitta, consciousness. Chitta, it's almost pure, because this is how we, the pure soul, how we get attached to this material world. So this knowledge is given to us. We are pure. Then how come something pure gets attached to material? So Mahatattva is almost pure, just with a tinge of passion in it. Then from this Mahatattva comes the false ego. And because of the false ego, we are able to forget our real identity as eternal, pure souls, parts and parcels of Krishna, because of this false ego. Then from this false ego, agitation still is there, because goodness, passion, and ignorance is there, right? So when false ego combines with goodness, when it combines with passion, and when it combines with ignorance. So here it said, when false ego combines with passion, all these sense objects and sense perception is created. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So it's very scientifically, it's giving us step by step how the creation had happened. And this is what we are attached to, actually. Well, it's showing us that, we are so attached to this world, but what is it? Just different combinations of the different senses, sense objects, of the elements. So very scientifically it's given. Tani
So the entity was already there.
The entity.
And then the body was, right? The soul, the Jeev was there, the Mahatattva, and then that's how the body was formed.
Yeah, the body is going to be formed later now. Yeah.
Oh.
So all these are the raw materials which are put inside the Mahatattva.
Okay.
Yeah, by Mahavishnu. All this is happening still with Mahavishnu. So it's called Sarga, primary creation. Because there are two types of creation. One is Sarga, primary creation, which is being happened by Mahavishnu. And the second is called Visarga. Visarga is the secondary creation, which Brahmaji does. And what does he do is, he's been given all the elements, and then he just gives shape to the different elements. So the elements are already there. All the ingredients are there, senses, sense organs, sense objects, elements, everything is there. He just has to now decide, okay, which planet will go where, and then what kind of combination will be in each planet. And then,
but before the elements means the soul was there, the Jiva.
Yeah, Jiva.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were put because of their desire. Right?
Yeah, they are put because of their desire.
Right.
Yeah.
To enjoy.
To enjoy, yeah. So tani chaikaika shastum asamarthani bhautikam samhatya deva yogena hemam andam avasrajan. Okay. Separately, unable to produce the material universe, they combined with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord and were able to produce a shining egg. So this universe is called an egg. Everything is packed inside this egg, the shell. We can't get out of this. Then, so Shayishtabdi Salile Anda Kosho Niratmakaha Sagaram Vaivarsha Sahasram Anva
Vasitam Ishvaram.
Thank you. For over 1,000 years, the shiny egg lay on the waters of the causal ocean in a lifeless state. Then the Lord entered it as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From this verse, it appears that all the universes are floating in the causal ocean. So Mahavishnu, he created so many eggs, so many universes are there. And where are they floating? On the causal ocean, on the Karana ocean. And then it was there for 1,000 years. Then after that, Mahavishnu enters it as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Tasya nabir abhut padmam sahasrar koru didhiti sarva jivani kayauko yatra swayam abhut swarat. From the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshai Vishnu sprouted a lotus flower, effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of all conditioned souls. And the first living entity who came out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma. It appears from this verse that the conditioned souls who rested within the body of the personality of Godhead after the dissolution of the last creation came out in the sum total form of the lotus. This is called Hiranyagarbha. So from Mahavishnu, so we are originally in Mahavishnu's body, right? We were there in Mahavishnu's body. Then how did we enter the universe? Is from the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, in this lotus, from this lotus flower. Hiranyagarbha. The first living entity to come out was Lord Brahma, who is independently able to create the rest of the manifested universe. So after the universe is manifest, after all the elements are given, then Brahmaji is going to decide, oh, which living entity is going to go in which universe, who has to take which kind of a body. There are 3 types of species that he majorly decides. Lower than human beings, and superhuman beings. So he has to decide who's going to go where, which planet are they going to go, which species are they going to go. So they are the immovable species like trees, creepers, plants. And then they are the lower species like animals, birds, aquatics, and then they are the human beings. So the lotus described here is described here as effulgent as the glare of 1,000 suns. This indicates that the living entities and as parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord are also of the same quality, since the Lord also diffuses his bodily glare known as Brahma Jyoti. So the Brahma Jyoti is coming from the Lord's body. His body is effulgent. Our body is also effulgent. The soul, we cannot see now because our soul is now covered by this subtle and material body. But actually the soul is very effulgent. It's like, I don't know how many suns was said also. Well, here is said that the lotus is like, how many suns? 1,000. So 1,000 suns. So even there is light coming from us. We are the soul, right? So we also have this Brahma Jyoti coming out of us. Because why? Because it's coming out of the Lord's body. We are the same quality. The Lord and us, the quality is same. The quantity is different. That's okay. But the quality is the same. So we are actually very effulgent, very, very effulgent. But now that effulgence is covered with this material body. The description of Vaikuntha Loka as stated in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures is confirmed herewith. In Vaikuntha, the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, electricity, or fire. Every planet there is self-effulgent like the sun. So there is no need of any separate fire there. Why? Because everyone is effulgent. The Lord is effulgent and all the living entities are all effulgent. Why? Because we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Any comments? Or questions? No, then we can stop here for today.
Okay.
Let's stop here. Thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you for listening in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Krishna.